Lightroom provides several ways to apply some level of label to your images. These include the star ratings, color labels, and flags. In this lesson, we'll take a look at the mechanics of how these features can be used to label your images. We'll get started with star ratings, which are probably the most straightforward and easiest to understand just by their nature. An image can be rated with 1 through 5 stars, which in most cases is thought of as reflecting the quality of the image. 5 stars would typically mean your best images, and 1 star would mean your not-so-good images. And of course, an image can have no stars at all, which generally just means it hasn't yet been rated. As you can see, I have the star rating control available to me on the toolbar directly under the preview image. You can specify which controls will be available on the toolbar by choosing them from the pop-up at the right side of the toolbar. As a result, you can simply use this control to apply a rating to your images. For example, clicking on the first star will give you a 1-star rating, the second star will give you a 2-star rating, etc., all the way up to the 5-star rating. Notice that the rating appears below the image on the film strip as well by default. You can turn that option off in Preferences if you prefer. Of course, there's other methods for assigning ratings to the images. These include choosing from the menu, for example, Photo, Set Rating, and then choosing None or 1 through 5 stars. In addition, we can set a rating with keyboard shortcuts. 1 will give you 1 star, 2 for 2 stars, etc., all the way up to 4 stars. If you want to remove the star rating, you can press 0 for 0 stars. And we can also right-click on the image to assign a star rating. And this works either for the image displayed in the preview area or on the film strip. Simply right-click and choose Set Rating and then the particular rating you'd like to assign. In most cases, I would use keyboard shortcuts for assigning ratings. For example, I've already given this image a 4-star rating, and then I can press the left or right arrow keys to navigate among my images. Maybe this one I'll simply give a 3-star rating by pressing 3, and this one maybe gets a 2-star rating, etc. I can continue assigning ratings for all of the images if desired. You also have the option to increase or decrease a star rating. You can press the right square bracket to increase the star rating for an image, or the left square bracket to decrease the rating for the image. These options are also available from both the photo menu and the right-click menu as well, along with the other menu commands for star ratings. Of course, at first glance, it probably doesn't seem all that useful to increase or decrease the rating for a particular image. You could simply use the numeric keyboard shortcuts to assign a specific rating. For example, in this case, I've assigned a 1-star rating. To increase the rating would simply be a 2-star rating. So instead of pressing the right square bracket key to increase the rating, I could press the number 2 to assign a star rating of 2 stars. Where this feature is actually very useful, however, is when you have multiple images selected. For example, I'll go ahead and choose 2 images on the film strip, and I'll switch to the grid view so that we can see both of them at a little bit larger size. Now, if I press the right square bracket, you'll notice that the rating for each of them increases. The image on the left increased from 1 star to 2 stars, and the image on the right increased from 2 stars to 3 stars. I can increase again, or use the left square bracket to decrease the rating. So while this keyboard shortcut's not exactly a time saver when working on an individual image, it can be very helpful when working with multiple images. Star ratings are particularly useful because they're rather meaningful both as a filter and as a sorting mechanism. If we sort the images by star rating, they're automatically going to be sorted in order from favorite to least favorite or vice versa. And we can of course filter the images so we can only see perhaps the 4 and 5-star images, for example. The concept of color labels is relatively similar to the star ratings, especially considering there's 5 color labels and 5 star ratings. Of course, you can assign your own meaning to these color labels. In general, they're thought of as prioritization, red being the highest priority, yellow being second highest priority, etc. as you move down from the warmer colors to the cooler colors. But you can also categorize images in a variety of ways. For example, red images might be those you've shared with clients, or yellow images might be those that are part of a composite, such as for composite panoramas. You can use any structure you like as long as you're consistent. If you're going to use a particular meaning for each color label, then you might also want to make a note of that so you'll have it for future reference. Assigning color labels is very similar to assigning star ratings. With the control available on the toolbar, we can simply click one of the color labels to assign that color label to an image. As with star ratings, we can only assign one color label to any given image. I can't click yellow to add yellow in addition to red as the color label. I can only choose a single color label at a time. And as with star ratings, we can use a variety of options for assigning these color labels. I can go to the Photo menu and choose Set Color Label and then choose a particular color from the menu. I can also right-click on the image and then choose Set Color Label followed by the color I want to use. And I can use keyboard shortcuts. You'll recall that the numbers 1 through 5 allow you to assign 1 through 5 stars to the image, and that 0 applies 0 stars. We can assign color labels with the remaining numbers. 6 will apply the red label, 7 will apply the yellow label, 8 will apply the green label, and 9 will apply the blue label. Purple, unfortunately, doesn't get a shortcut key because at this point we're out of numbers. Once again, if you want to assign color labels to your images, I would suggest that using keyboard shortcuts is probably the fastest approach. Simply move through your images using the left and right arrow keys and then press a number anytime you need to assign a color label. For example, if I want to assign a red color label to this image, I can simply press 6, and perhaps I'll give it a 4-star rating as well. Okay, maybe only 3 stars. In addition to star ratings and color labels, we can also use flags, often referred to as pick flags, to mark our images. You use the flags to identify an image as either being picked or rejected. A picked image means it's one you'd like to work with, and a rejected image means it's one you probably don't want to work with. In theory, you might even want to delete images that you've rejected. If an image has neither been picked nor rejected, then it's simply unpicked. Since I've added the flag controls to the toolbar under the preview image, I can simply click on these buttons to set an image as picked or rejected. Notice that an icon appears at the top left of the thumbnail on the film strip. I can also use the menu commands to apply a pick or reject status by choosing Photo, Set Flag, and then Flagged, Unflagged, or Rejected. Similarly, I can right-click on an image, choose Set Flag, and then Flagged, Unflagged, or Rejected. And as always, we have keyboard shortcuts as well. Simply press P to set the flag for pick, U to set the flag as unpick or remove the flag, and X to set the flag as rejected. It's worth noting, by the way, that when you reject an image, it also appears dimmed on the film strip to help you see right away that this is an image you probably don't want to work with. With all of these controls, we can also turn off any of our existing settings simply by clicking on the selected item. So for example, this image is set to a reject flag, has 3 stars for the star rating, and has a red color label. If I want to remove any of those altogether as opposed to changing to something else, I can simply click on the selected item. So clicking on the reject flag will remove that reject flag, making this image unpicked. Clicking on the 3-star rating in this case will turn off the star rating so that this image does not have any star rating at all, and clicking on the red color label will remove that color label. Star ratings, color labels, and flags provide you with considerable flexibility in labeling your images. You don't necessarily need to put all of these features to use for all of your images, but each of them can be very helpful when it comes to keeping your images organized.